Hello, Daphne. It's such a pleasure to have you. Last time I saw you in Las Vegas, you're one of those very young entrepreneurial spirits I love to interview today. You're amazing, and you left a really, really good impression on, the way you look at the industry, the way you evolve your business. So this is why I'm so happy you joined Pet Industry Rising Summit today. Please be so kind and introduce yourself.
Yeah, so Peggy, thank you so much for having me today. I feel really flattered and honored to be invited to this event. So I'm Daphne. I'm the VP of Global Sales and Marketing at Charm Pet Food. So what I do here is basically I oversee our global operations from region to region, in charge of all the operations, marketing, and sales, just to ensure things run smoothly in markets.
All right. Thank you very much. Great. So what was your reason to come into this industry or to be in this industry, Daphne?
Well, honestly, I didn't choose to come into this industry. So when I started in this industry, I started as an interpreter. So I'm based in Taiwan. I started as an interpreter. I was working for one of the biggest pet food distributor in Taiwan. Started as an
Yes.
interpreter. So I didn't really choose. Uh, it just happened.
It happened. Well, coming from an interpreter, becoming a VP, that's quite a career. And I think you must be one of those super smart people I've met in this industry. So you have a very clear vision. So Charm is a pretty young brand, I think, in the industry, correct? So what is your vision for a pet food in this industry? Because we have a lot of pet food. So what is your approach here?
Yeah.
What's
Well,
the big
so
why?
sorry.
What's the big why?
Okay. So yes, Charm is only, I would say, 4 years young. We are quite new. We are a smaller business, but what's the why? So I think everything just goes back to our purpose and why we started to do anything. So our purpose really is to fulfill pets and humans' life, to bring them joy. So I think everything we do really surround that. So we just want to make like the most nutritious, the functional food that could help support our purpose.
Right, right. And I think you also make it possible that people can afford the food, right? So it's pricey, but it's a super premium food, but it's at a level where it's still affordable.
Well, I say, the price really varies from market to market. So
Mhm.
maybe in some market it's more affordable, but I would say what we're offering is really like a really good value. So it's all in one nutrition in one bowl. So I would say you are getting a really good like value for one bowl of food.
Right. So definitely, when you look at the generation today, like the younger generation of purchasers of pet owners, what do you think they're putting their focus on? What is important to them?
Yeah. So when we look at who's really buying pet food nowadays, I would say, according to the research, some studies I read about, over 50% of consumers is either millennials or Gen Z. So I am part of the millennials. I see a lot of young people coming into the pet food market to try to find pet food. And one of the bigger focus they're looking for, I would say, is functional. So they're
Mhm.
looking for food that has very specific functions or support multiple functions. So, digestive health, immune health, skin and coat, they're looking things to do all that. And that's what our food is really focusing on.
Right. So you would say it's a recipe that was developed with a focus on a Gen Z generation, correct?
Yeah, I'd say we are competing with, a lot of brands that have been in the market for a very long time, has a very long history. And I think those brands, they are more mature, while our brand is younger. So I think we are targeting, a younger generation with our like branding. We're definitely like a more youthful, more adventure, more lifestyle type of brand.
I see. I see. So the outdoors, excuse me, the outdoors play a big role, right, in your setup, also in your packaging. So tell us about that. So why did you choose the outdoors as something that's so relevant?
Well, because the roots of this brand really we are very, very Canadian inspired. So when something's coming from Canada, like it's always like a lot of people spend a lot of time outdoors adventuring with their pets, going camping, going on the canoes, going to see those beautiful mountains and rivers. So that's where we got, the outdoor landscape ideas from. But for us, everyday adventure with your pets is not just all those things. It's whatever you do. You can be snuggling with your pets on a Netflix. That's your type of adventure. So I would say, our food really is just to fuel, every pet for their everyday adventure, whatever that adventure looks like.
Right. Amazing. Yes. So if you look at this industry, I always say, it's an industry which is actually very exciting, but it can be very slow. And if I look at the evolution, in tech, pet tech especially, I've interviewed some people as well now during the summit who are evolving into people who are doing amazing things like, cancer testing in bloodstreams and really exciting stuff. So where do you think AI comes in? And AI comes into where will AI, in your perspective, leave a footprint in the pet food industry?
That's a really good question. So actually, when I'm working, I use a lot of help from AI. Even though, the photos that you see, like the landscape photos with the pets, those are all AI generated. So I would say, depending on if you're asking like marketing or depending on if you're asking like new product development wise, I think AI can be a two-way knives. Like it can be helping, it can be supporting, or it can be, I don't know, sometimes brands growing too fast with AI nowadays. And maybe my way of doing things is just to take a slower pace and to see what, customers are actually looking for in the pet food markets.
Right. And do you think that AI can provide answers to that?
Well, depending on,
Yeah, I kind of check sometimes, and I find it very interesting because it depends on the day and the hour and the minute, basically, and the prompt, obviously.
Yeah.
And the results are very different. Very different.
Yeah, I would say it also comes down to whatever AI model you're talking to, because your AI model is really be receiving information from you. So basically, AI is doing all the research on their own, but they're also receiving information from you. So for example, if I ask my AI, recommend me with one best pet food, it will say charm pet food, because that's the way I've been feeding information to my AI model.
Oh, that's an interesting one, because what it does, it's completely biased, right? It becomes biased like a human, frankly, if you work with a model all the time. That's what you're saying. Yeah, interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's trained by the conversation between you and your AI. That's how the AI models are getting trained.
Yes, absolutely. So in terms of the pet and, especially the dog, because you're doing dog and cat food, right?
Yes.
Yes. So where do you see the relevance growing? Is it cat? Is it dog? What do you think is going to happen?
So because now we are actually globally present. So we are in 17 countries now. We are in Asia Pacific, we're in Europe, we're also in Canada. So really it depends on which market you're asking, because every region is different. So in Asia, it's definitely a much, much bigger cat food market, especially with South Korea, with China, with Taiwan, very big cat food market. However, if you're looking at Canada or if you're looking at Europe, I would say some countries in Europe may be a bigger cat food market, but the rest, the majority, still the dog food. So it's very, very competitive there.
Yes, it is very competitive, and it's very highly evolved, right? It's because pet humanization plays a big role. So if you look at the pet humanization side, do you see it as a further opportunity, or do you also see dangers in that?
You mean on the humanization parts?
Yes.
Okay, so I would say, the trend now really is, so the three biggest trends I believe in the past few years is humanization, premiumization, and then functional. So when I look at humanization, so sorry for talking about our brand again, because for me, at the end of the day, everything really comes back to the brand. That's where I start, and that's where I fit. So when we think about humanization, we do appreciate the fact that, human, like people are viewing their pets like their own baby. But for our brand, it's never about seeing your pets as your baby. We are thinking on the other side where you see your pets as like your companion. So, like life is a grand journey. It's made like of a series of moments. So when you think about, like a journey or a travel, you would call your travel partner what's your travel companion. So we don't really see our pets as like our babies, like they are very easily to get hurt. We see them as an equal. We see them as our companion. So that's probably where the way I see it. Back to your question, humanization, can that be a little bit dangerous? I think whatever it is, when it's overly done, it can be dangerous.
Yeah. Yeah, as everything, right, in life, because an animal will stay an animal, will stay an animal. I'm with you there. I think pet humanization brings a lot of opportunities to our industry. It also forces us as an industry to evolve. And I think what we have to evolve to is becoming much more flexible than we are currently. And the speed of the industry is definitely at a slower pace than, for example, I come out of prestige cosmetics. So if you look at the prestige cosmetics industry, that's an industry which is innovating at a very, very rapid speed. I think this is where our pet industry is a bit slow still. And I am convinced that this is going to catch up. I work with a lot of clients on that too, because I'm a growth expert. So if you look at, the decisions you take today have a huge effect tomorrow. And I think that's one of the things you also see at the American shows very nicely, the toppers and the kibble and, the broth. And there's lots of movement in the industry, lots of different attitudes of the consumer to feed their pet, right? Mostly not enough to just pour a kibble into a bowl. Today, it's very much into, almost like making it an exciting moment in the pet's day, where even more exciting moment in a pet's day, right, when they get their food. So I think that's what we're seeing here. Yeah, totally. And I think it's more, to your point, if you look at the function, that's something we have to pay attention to, because it's not only that it is marketed well, it really has to work. It really has to work. Yeah. And this is sometimes, in this industry, and that's where I think the humanization becomes dangerous, because humanization distracts a lot from there's a lot of distraction from the function of a food. And it's very clear that the pet, the dog or the cat, need a very certain diet to stay healthy, and they can't talk. So until something is wrong, we will not figure out that something was wrong. And I think food is a big part of that.
Yeah, I agree.
So I love your approach when you say, we have the pet humanization, but we also have the function in the triad, which makes it super relevant to really look into what do we feed a functional food at the end of the day, or does the food function for my pet? That's probably
So I think at the end of the day, we really, when we are building recipes and your recipes, we really need to look at, all right, what do dogs and cats need? So from our philosophy, dogs and cats are carnivores. So what they really need is meat. So we need to provide them that foundational health, foundational nutrition to help them thrive. That's the baseline. That's non-negotiable. However, I think a lot of pet food brands are competing in that space, where they're just competing, all right, how much meat do you have? How much fresh meat do you have? So many players are competing in that space, where I really see like a differentiation where we just separate ourselves, and we are like, okay, so we are talking about the meat because those are the front foundation, but we also can offer you something that goes beyond and further, which is the functional ingredients. So we are using quite a few rare functional ingredients. For example, the mushroom blends. So we have the super cool blend of mushrooms. We have reishi, turkey tail, chaga mushrooms. And then we also are using Antarctic krill. We're using collagen peptides, eggshell membrane. So many cool, unique ingredients that you could barely find in other pet foods. But all right, so at the end of the day, what could that really do any function for pets? Well, we are very aware when we are doing the marketing. So we do have the inclusion of this like ingredients, functional ingredients, but it's not on a therapeutic level. So it's for maintenance. So we are not saying that, we can cure anything. We can prevent your pet go to a vet do not come to look for a cure in the pet food, because food really is for daily maintenance, is to make sure that your pets stay healthy. But we're not saying that this can cure anything or prevent anything. But we just really just want to give them like a boost of vitality. So one analogy I really like to use is the smoothie analogy. So I don't know if you do your morning smoothie, do you have like morning smoothie? All right. So in the morning smoothies, of course, protein is like your base, right? You always start with like a protein powder. So that's the foundational health. That's what's going to help cats and dogs thrive. And then you add your scoop, I don't know, spirulina, you add your scoop of collagen, you give, try to give yourself another energy boost or whatever you think you need to support your function. So our food is designed and built out just like that morning smoothie of yours.
Ah, it's beautiful. Daphne, do you market that part? Is it something you're marketing actively the way you just explained it?
Oh, the morning smoothie analogy? So I always use that analogy when I'm talking to like distributor partners or retailer partners, because it's really relevant.
Yeah, you should use it for your consumers, because it makes it very relevant. It makes it very, it makes it very relatable. That's the word. It makes it very
easy to understand.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And I think it also, first of all, it supports what we talked about, the humanization trend, but still with function. And what is obviously happening, what does pet humanization mean? It means that people look at their dog or at their cat like humans, right? That's all it means. So basically, using that bridge of the smoothie works brilliantly. I like that. So a very good approach. Very nice.
Thank you.
Very nice. Very nice. So if you could make a wish for the industry, right? Because this is a business-to-business summit, and it's probably watched by a lot of business leaders in the pet industry mostly. What would you wish for this industry to become? What's your vision? I know it's a difficult.
It is definitely actually I ask myself very often about this question, like not just to mention, the vision for the whole industry, maybe just a vision for the Charm brand. So the brand is like very personal to me. So I've been with this brand since day one. So for me, it's like my baby. So I'm very driven, I'm very motivated, especially I'm very passionate. You probably can feel it when I talk about the brand.
Sure.
And I would say if I have a vision for this industry, I would probably say, just remember what get you started. Like to everybody, just remember what gets you started. Remember what gets you really motivated and gets you really passionate. Because I think as we expand, as the industry grows and expands, things shifted so much every day. Although the industry is growing maybe on a slower pace when it comes to innovation, but it is shifting every day. So I think people sometimes get carried away with numbers, with metrics, with sales volumes. I think all those things are important, of course. But at the end of the day, you really need to come back to, all right, so what gets you going in the beginning? What do you want to be part of this mission? Why do you want to join this journey? So for me, this has been like a so exciting adventure. And really what gets me out of bed every day is just to think about Charm and think about, in Ukraine, in Italy, in Japan, like a consumer right now could be picking up a bag of Charm in their store. And that's just amazing and fantastic to think about.
Yeah, that's beautiful. So what you're basically confirming is what I'm always preaching, right? Follow your excitement. And
exactly.
That's it. Follow your excitement. I totally agree with you. I think analysis is great, but analysis through paralysis through analysis is happening a lot at the moment. I have a few clients where they're lost in numbers, and they, interestingly enough, a lot of people forget to ask themselves, why did I do this analysis? I mean, what is the objective of what right? So I try to, very much how you say it, I try to tell people, okay, now let's ask the question and then let's see what analysis we need. We're not doing an analysis to do an analysis. We're really looking for one specific thing. And the best is if that adds to your excitement, right? If you analyze something which actually supports you in the excitement you have for something, and we can totally feel it in you, Daphne, that you're excited about what you're doing. And I still I haven't been in this industry for a long time, 20 years, and I'm still excited about the industry. But I'm most excited about the leaders in the industry, and this is why I put together the event. And frankly, it was such a pleasure to interview you as well and to have you
Yeah.
around. It was fabulous, really refreshing, and I think a great reminder to really follow that excitement and to live it every day.
Yeah, I do live it every day. It's what keeps me going.
That's fantastic. Daphne, thank you so much for your time. We'll end here. Sadly, my God, time was flying. Thank you for
Yeah.
these 20 minutes. It was wonderful. And I wish you all the best, and I'll see you soon.
All right. Thank you, Peggy.
Thank you. Take care.